Hey, it's me, Puppet DM, and I'm here to tell you all about the sponsors we have here at the Wandering Society. We're sponsored here by Mage Hand Press, makers of a bunch of 5th edition supplements, like the Book of Kobold or their series of new classes. And don't forget, Arcmada, the amazing sci-fi fantasy campaign setting for the world's greatest role-playing game. Be sure to check them out at store.mageandpress.com. Up next, we have Roll20. It's the platform we use here at the Wandering Society to play all of our games. It's easy to use, intuitive, and it now comes with Dark Mode. Be sure to check them out at roll20.net. We're also sponsored by our Talsorian Games. Our Talsorian Games make great RPGs, and they've been doing so since the early 90s. Check their books. They've got Cyberpunk Red, which Simon tells me has been played here extensively, Castle Falkenstein, which also has been played here, and The Witcher, which has also been. Okay, we get it! Check them out at your FLGS or online at ourtalsoriangames.com. Have you ever wanted to wake up and smell the coffee? Well, now you can with this next sponsor, Found Familiar. Get yourself some damn good coffee at foundfamiliar.com and use the code on the screen to get 15% off. What do you mean I can't drink coffee? What the fuck is felt? And we couldn't end this segment without talking about our good friends at Die Hard Dice. That's right. As a Dice affiliate, we are proud to partner with Die Hard Dice to bring you only the best in shiny click-clacks. Click-clacks? What is... Ow. You can check their ever-growing collection over at dieharddice.com and use the link below to get 15% off. You're putting this all on me? I better get a cut.
Hello everyone, welcome. It is a Saturday, which means we are playing Scion. I am Simon at Wandering DM. I will be the fates for our game today. I use he, him pronouns, and I have with me an awesome crew, -1 of players. I'll let them introduce themselves, and today we're going to be all chaotic, and we're going to do whatever order y'all want, whoever wants to go first goes first.
I'll go first.
Bam.
I'll be chaotic. Hi, my name is Renee Rhodes. I use she, her pronouns, as does my character Morning, who is the daughter of the Morgan.
Once again,
Hey everyone, I'm Lynn, she, they, and today I am playing D, daughter of Inari, she, her.
Alright, I'm Hawkeye, or Kentucky Hawkeye, and today I will be doing Finbar Odubda, son of Ogma.
and I didn't have time to swallow my last bite. That's fine. So, dear players,
Yes.
where are we at? What happened since we've returned to the stream basically a week ago with our very chill episode?
Chill.
Do y'all know what a payphone is?
Yes, I am familiar with a payphone.
I don't know what a payphone. I do know what a payphone is. Morning had no idea what a payphone is, but that's our grand goal, is to find a payphone currently, which I believe you said the only locations were in Boston and Chicago nearby. I don't
Boston, New York would have been.
Boston and New York.
They're
that
not necessarily
sounds more
the
reasonable.
only. Yeah, they're not like the only locations, but
They're just the
they're-
closest.
yeah, and they're easily searchable.
Right. And that is still several hours from us in any direction. So, but it is also the best way to get a hold of Kieran's Loki, and try and understand why he is not affected by this god net holding all of divinity back, and what he knows. Also,
Yeah.
things are very tense. None of us are getting along.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ah!
But yeah, we're on the hunt for a payphone. But also, you all kind of learned what's at stake today. Or today in the game, like concurrent with the events of the game, in that whatever happens to the net will essentially shape what humanity is going to become. And in some ways, what you are going to become.
No pressure, y'all.
Yep.
Alright then. So, we need to find us a payphone. The only one I knew here here in this town was unfortunately destroyed with the tasty oak. Looks like we're probably going to need to travel out of town from what we've been able to find out. So, do we drive or do we take the, shall we say, more direct route?
Always probably the more direct route. I feel like we are probably a little low on time.
True. We don't know how. We don't know. We know the wick is burnt. We know that the fuse is burning on the bomb, but we don't know how long
How
the
long we
fuse is
have,
left.
right?
I would agree with that.
We had also been texting. Where did y'all want to meet up?
I guess at the apartment's probably the most central
Probably
place.
best.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
So, Morning then is incredibly nervous waiting for y'all to get there because feels really guilty about where things are at with D right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't think D's probably the sort of person that has like gone through like argument stuff, so she's not like gonna like, given time to cool off, everything is okay. But I don't think maybe Morning doesn't know that, Also, D's still a little like depressed and stuff like that. So
I'm also
you
not
see-
sure if Morning knew that, if it would help, because it's like, what if my best friend is still mad at me kind
Yeah.
of thing is just always horrifying.
Yeah, I think also probably what complicates it is that D's tendency to be snippy is like increase when she's not really necessarily feeling great. So it's like
Fair.
it might not be. I mean, it's probably not morning, but like it's like morning doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, D's probably like, even though she slept in like a really nice thing, just kind of still looks a little ragged. Morning. Morning.
Morning. Do you want coffee, tea, anything before we go?
She like has a big like Dunkin' Donuts
Oh.
cup of coffee.
You have coffee, right? Oh, yeah.
It was free at the thing.
Yeah. I made too much. I think it's pretty strong. You wouldn't want it anyway. It's. I used way too much of Winnie's coffee.
You've already had some, I've seen.
So much, yes.
God, a payphone. The hell is?
Yeah,
gonna be-
Kieran had to explain that one to me.
Yeah. I've heard them, but like I've never I never used one. They're just kind of like even when they were still around, we had cell phones. Like we just stare at it like, what the hell's that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Superman. He has nowhere to go to change into his outfit anymore.
I mean, fingers crossed that this thing still works. Someone didn't just like, put a piece of gum inside it or deface it somehow. It's gonna be real fun if we go make a trip and things busted.
Yeah, that'll be the fun part, is trying to find one that's still actively working and not vandalized all get out.
That feels like a very low-key thing.
To vandalize a phone?
No, to just be unreachable in a place, like to tie communication to a place that many people engage in mischief with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also think it's like it's general thing that Loki doesn't want to be contacted, because in order to contact you got to use this thing that is like a chore to find. It's like, I don't know why you just calling for like.
Honestly, fair.
All right.
Have to
Well,
find it.
either way, let's get the morning chores over with. See if we
Hmm.
can find us one.
You don't need to check to search the internet for those payphones.
We did Google it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have the street corner that it's on. One of the rare few left in New York City. Are you going New York or Boston?
Which would we less stand out in? My guess would be
It doesn't
New
really-
York.
I stand out everywhere I go.
True. But where would you stand out less? Probably Times Square.
Well, if we go to New York, there might be more of a chance that there's another one reasonably close by, so we will go there.
Oh, that's true. That's not a bad idea.
Then New York it is. The one you found in New York, at least the pictures you saw on the internet, make it seem like it's in good condition. Like, I mean, it's been graffitied over, right?
Mhm.
But the oh wow, I am completely blanking out on like phone anatomy, components of an
Phone
actual
anatomy?
phone.
What are you talking about? Like, is
Or-
it,
Like the receiver,
Yeah,
the
there's the
cord?
receiver,
I don't
but
know.
like, how would you call the box with all the keys on it?
the keypad?
Yeah, keypad probably.
The dial.
But
Number
it's
that, like,
not. Okay, no, dial is a bit too old. Yeah, I guess it's a keypad.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like the giant, because there's also like the place where you put the coin in, like that
Mhm.
that
It's
entire
like, yeah.
box thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
It's
The
been-
box is
Yeah,
messed up. Like,
Yeah, that's it. Let's call it like the box. It's been graffitied over. There are pieces of it that have like been burnt.
oh,
the writing on the keys themselves is all but faded away. But it seems in working condition. The receiver is still connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more phone book attached to it, which
Of course not. I mean, that thing is.
that thing disappears like.
I don't think they
First
have them,
instant.
and I don't think they have phone books in them like for a while. I don't think I've ever seen one with a phone book attached to it.
Long time ago.
Yeah, the only time I've seen one with a phone book still attached to it was because it was inside of a building,
Mm-hmm.
like
Inside, yeah.
in a public location, but inside of a building, which meant that
They could monitor it. They could watch
they could
it,
monitor.
make sure
Yeah, they could tell people not to fucking tear it apart.
not to light it on fire.
But yeah, and it seems, for all intents and purposes, to still be working. Now the thing, though, is that there is a like security perimeter around it now.
What do you mean?
Not so much. There are no like cops watching it, but there are like they've erected concrete barriers, just like 4 of them, to prevent cars from ramming into it. So it looks like the phone is going to stand out.
That's fine.
Whoever goes in to use it will attract attention.
I mean, that's fine.
I mean, what are we if we don't attract attention?
I mean, if someone uses this a payphone, it's to be like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I got an idea.
Hmm.
How about maybe we could do something retro for your streaming and all that, and make it look like we're filming something for your streaming and all that, showing you how us oldies used to do it with the telephone as a cover.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if Kieran wants us in the background for this conversation on camera, but I'm for it. Just like
This is making it worse. This is making it like you're just gonna like someone with a live stream, Kieran, have a phone call.
grab more attention. Yeah, Kieran's just like in the background, like I don't know these people.
It's just gonna
Well,
be
she can-
like it's
Kieran
gonna
can-
be
you can
progressively
discuss-
like
You can disguise yourself anyway, Kieran, so no one will recognize who you are anyway.
I
Oh,
do have a big sword and a unicorn, so I'm gonna stand out no matter what. I'm really fine with that.
Yeah, at this point in time, none of you can really pass incognito unless you use powers to do it.
Yeah.
Fate,
So we may as
fate
well-
I don't know. I
will,
have I'm
We may as well hide in plain sight
yeah.
by doing something like that.
At that point, I do think we are just being in plain sight, but that is okay with me.
Hmm.
All right,
Okay.
let's get to it.
do you teleport to New York?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's easier. That's wise.
It is. I
That's
just
shorter.
wanna know who spends the legend. Oh yeah, well, you're not in the house anymore. So it's one of you. Oh shoot, who has the travel power?
I do.
It is.
D?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you have enough legend?
Yeah, I still have legend.
Cool. And in a flash, the 4 of you end up in New York City. You go from the relatively quietness of Niantic to the noisy, loud, vibrant New York scene.
I think Morning is thrilled. This is the first time she's been in New York City.
It's it's like taking a crowd. Oh wow, does that expression exist? I don't think so. A crowd bath.
A crowd bath. No, that sounds about right. It may not be an expression, but it is
In-
very like evocative.
So in French, it is it would translate to like a crowd bath, where you basically soak in people.
Amazing. That is perfect.
I mean, it takes. Oh, did you bring Midnight with you?
Of course, I brought Midnight with me.
Okay, so I mean, the moment you
Absolutely.
appear, it takes less than 2 minutes for someone to almost run into your horse because they're not looking where they're going. There are cars everywhere. Traffic, of course, as usual. Question for D: how far from the payphone did you want to appear? Since you know where it is.
It's probably gonna be far, because I think the stipulation for the power, it has to be some sort of like greenery. I think, like a curtain of like ivy or like a arch or something like that.
Let me see.
We're gonna have to walk.
Yeah, which one is it?
And I mean, it's gonna have to be like Central Park or something. That's gonna be the most consistent place of like that sort of necessary greenery.
Chances are, yeah.
There are horses around Central Park. Not many unicorns, but
So, you're actually there is a park next to it that isn't Central Park.
Ah,
So Central Park
good.
is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 10 blocks away.
yeah.
But there is a little park, I believe.
Okay, we'll go to the little park then.
Is it?
great.
Yes.
Perfect.
745 Plaza
Okay.
is where it is. Your payphone is basically on the corner of 7th Avenue and something else. I looked it up real quick. 49th West.
Okay.
Basically near Broadway.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
So you're smack dab in the touristy area of New York.
Good. Great. God,
Of Manhattan. But
course.
yeah, it's right there on the corner, as you saw in the picture. There's those 4 concrete barriers, if you will, and it's like an enclosed cabin with that little plastic, like transparent plastic door. There are a couple people that are taking shots of the phone as they walk by. Kieran looks at you and says, I'll just be a couple of minutes, I guess.
All right, take your time. Get whatever information you can.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun.
Wait. Before I do, remind me again what we need from Da.
We need the primary thing is why he's able to travel back and forth as easily as
Yeah.
he does, as opposed to why all the others seem to be locked up.
I'd say any information on the net, what caused the net, what would happen if the net stayed up, went down, basically anything he can give us on the net.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. But I'll be right back. And he goes into the payphone, slots in the coin.
Does anyone else have a bad feeling about this?
I mean, his dad isn't like incredibly helpful, so I assume like we'll get something, but it's gonna be probably just as unhelpful.
Cautiously optimistic, but I'm not holding out that we're going to get what we're probably going to get what he'll give us, but not what we actually want to know.
I'm pretty sure Kieran's body language will give away how it's going.
After all, they get along so well together.
Like, if you've ever seen someone have a bad conversation on the phone, this is what I imagine. So it's like leaning against the thing, just like. It's like
I'd
I'm
say
prepared for it.
if you can make manipulation and empathy.
Okay. God.
You just want to see like at a glance, unless you have a power that lets you know exactly someone's state of mind.
3 successes.
He is exasperated. The conversation has just been going for about like 3 minutes, and Kieran's already fed up.
That was so fast. It's like immediately it goes like
Only
like
3
neutral,
minutes?
I'm not
neutral,
surprised,
neutral to like
Mm-hmm.
like this on like the frame of the thing with the phone, like just like
It's he even like paces inside
In a
the
circle.
booth because that's
which
how
is hard because like the thing's corded, so you kind of have to, like the pacing has to be like
Yeah, it's like, you know, you move a couple of steps and then you have to put the receiver on the other side of your face.
Yeah.
And then take another few steps and then
Mhm.
put it back around.
a corded phone.
So old.
Mm-hmm.
But they talk for a while. We'll fast forward, you know, the sun in the sky moves up and then down, cars move past. There's a little jingle that plays, a couple of B shots. And then we have just a shot of Kieran hanging up the phone. The coin falls back down. Picks it
All right.
up.
The important
buckets it.
question.
Yeah.
Does Kieran break the handset when she slams it onto the hook?
I don't
Those things
think
are sturdy.
Kieran
Those
has
things
the
are
strength
those
to
things.
do it.
Those things are strong.
Yeah.
Those
No,
things
but
are
if
solid.
Kieran had like epic strength, he could have. But I think that even as a god, Kieran is very, very meek. Yeah, he still has only 1 point of might.
I mean, you could like. I mean, it could be the thing where it's like hangs up hard, but it's like ow. The thing,
Yeah, it.
the thing like pushes back a bit.
I mean, the thing has a spirit, you know.
Yeah, it's probably unhappy. It's probably It is. Maybe that can be part of it. Like, oh, the phone itself is mad. Like, this
Yeah,
is
it's
like, it's not
The telephone.
happy.
It's going to
It's-
be the telephone version of a grumpy old man because it's one of the few old phones that's still
Like,
around.
it's not happy that someone has come to use it. It's resentful now. It's become resentful over time.
It just wish it could like forward your call to somewhere else.
Just like locks Kieran in there for like a split second. Like the door, just like yeah, you don't want to get away from that thing. That thing's pretty mad.
Also, I just realized in a post-COVID world how disgusting it would
I
be. How dangerous it would be to have these
about that.
phones.
I thought about that the second that like we pay about the payphone. It's a disgusting thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
like we I mean, we thought
don't
about
think
it
we-
before.
I
Like,
don't think like you necessarily like if you've never used a phone, how gross like putting the thing to your ear and have it next to your mouth is.
oh yeah, I would always like just have it hover
Yeah,
as best as I could.
yeah.
I
I mean, I had lower standards of like like that sort of thing when I was like when they were common, but like now that you just have a cell phone, it's like I don't.
I'm not
I
going
just
to.
always
looking at
had it
it.
up
It's like-
here, but then
It's
I
like
had the-
licking
I
a
pulled the
keyboard.
headset
That's
away
like
that. Yeah.
Don't talk about licking keyboards. That would be. Oh.
Ah.
Anyway,
But what was it like? I mean, D could do it. D has the thing where she can't get sick, so like it's like we're gods, you know. I don't know if that applies to Kieran. Kieran could get like wicked sick after this.
I mean, he could, but I would say at this rate, as demigods,
Yeah, I figured it was like
yeah,
cold as it's gonna be,
human,
like-
yeah, like you're immune to the flu by now.
yeah, unless there's serious stuff on this cell phone. I mean, on this payphone, and it's like it's fine.
Yeah,
It's a little gross,
it would be
but,
like,
like, it's
magical disease,
Yeah.
or something.
The thing's built up a curse after 20 years of being not used. That's what's.
So
Ugh.
Kieran comes out, pocketing the coin, both hands in his pockets, looking kind of glum.
How'd it go?
As well as you'd expect it, I guess.
That tracks.
You didn't fall from the sky this time. That's better.
Oh, yeah, no. I think this time he went for the emotional damage.
I'm sorry.
But I got things to talk about. Also, I'm kind of hungry. Is there a place we could go around here?
I'm sure there's something we can find here.
Yeah.
So you'll
And
head
I'll instantly just go ahead and pull out the Bard's tool and use it to search, do a quick search.
Is there
Yeah, what do you eat in New York?
Anything you like, pretty much.
Is there like a thing, you know?
eating from a food cart outside?
Mm.
Basically, it's a buffet table on wheels in the city.
Wow. Amazing.
Pick the style of food you want. There's probably either a food truck or there's a mom and pop style diner set up to serve it.
Mm-hmm.
Kieran goes, really anything, just could go for a sandwich if that's the case. If we don't know where to go.
So find a quick deli that we can dodge into real quick and sit down at.
The
Yeah.
saddest option is we just find a subway.
I think even Kieran would skip it. You find
I'm sure we can find.
New York.
I'm sure in this area of town, I'm sure we can find at least 5 delis that are 10 steps higher than Subway.
Yes. Yeah, you just quickly go into like one of those delis
fact,
that are like
I'm-
based in the
I'm gonna
sort of
gonna
basement of a
say
place.
with his travels as being a professor and lecturer and all that, he probably knows where there's a good deli around here. He's
Oh, yeah.
probably been in New York before. So he'll take you. I know just the place.
You have to walk for a little bit, but the whole time Kieran is uncharacteristically silent.
Uh-oh.
And when you get to the deli, you sit down, and Kieran is going. I'll paraphrase basically what Kieran has been told by their Da, by Loki. So the net is a safety mechanism. The gods and the titans have spent millennia fighting against each other, using Earth as the battleground. And now everything I'm going to say is according to Loki.
Mm-hmm.
A group of 12 deities banded together. Kind of like, you four have banded together to bring an end to this fighting. And Loki did not reveal the names of who was in that group.
Mm-hmm.
But they agreed together to basically separate Earth from all of the other connected realms. Basically, encase it in a protective bubble, if you will. That meant a lot of things would happen. In human in human reckoning, if you will, it more or less happened around the year we'll say about like 0 to 50. It's within the first half of the first century.
Okay.
The gods could not access the world anymore. They might have scions left in the world. But Loki, from what Loki said, any scion that ascends while the net is in place essentially ceases to be. Because Earth cannot contain them, and their essence cannot go anywhere. And so it's just, that's it. But the same would go for a Titan spawn. If they become too powerful, they're gone. So technically, and that's according to Kieran, but technically Ulf, if Ulf had succeeded in killing Winnie and getting her powers, Ulf would have died. Like, his plan was flawed from the start. He didn't know that, but that's how it would have went down. Except, this is according to Kieran, there's, you know, it's not instantaneous. So there might be a moment in the game, a moment in time in the world where you would have, you know, maybe like a rampaging Titan that cannot be stopped before their essence goes away. So imagine, oh, I think Morning became a cat. I just saw just a cat. So imagine if, well, don't imagine it, you've lived it. When Raijin showed up, there were giant thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And he stayed here for, what, 5 minutes tops? If you have a Titan of, I don't know, darkness, does that mean that the entire world gets bathed in darkness for, you know, a few minutes to a few hours? But like, think about all the damage that's going to cause in the long run. Same goes for Scions. The net, kind of like it would be more than an eclipse, it would be actual darkness. So, you know, a lot of crops would probably die, depending on how long it lasts. Demand in energy would spike up. That would have other, you know, unwanted consequences. Who knows? If it's supernatural darkness, it might just blind everyone. So imagine the amount of accidents you would get, and all of that.
Transportation, like flights and all that, would be almost impossible to take to land and steer.
Anyone who would be flying would have issues. So the net is there to protect the world. Those 12 deities agreed that this was the best thing to do for humanity. And now this is not according to Kieran, we're back to what Loki said. They did that out of the kindness of their heart. They just wanted, Loki just wanted humanity to thrive. Or at least to have a chance to do what, you know, to achieve their own fate, if you will, to their destiny as humans, without the meddling of the gods. Because, always according to Loki, those 12 gods, they sort of saw how egotistical most deities were, how self-centered they could be, and sometimes it's out of malice, but sometimes it's just out of not being human anymore. Or sometimes it's because of faith. Like, fate will twist everything so that you cannot mix mortals and immortals together without there having like giant repercussions that are often tragic.
Mhm.
The Deva of India, for instance, they have this thing where their deities, or at least, you know, back before the net was established, it was kind of an arms race between them and their titans. And many of them, to them, humanity was an afterthought, because, you know, we can always recreate it. That becomes a major issue when you're so removed from humanity that you don't see them as beings. But a lot of deities started as deities, not as mortals. You all have a different point of view. But unfortunately, you cannot bring that point of view to the overworld because there's a net in the way, a prison. And it's only really called a net because it looks like netting when you look at it from the overworld. Call it a bubble, a ward, a shield, whatever you want to call it. And it is anchored in the underworld. It was the only way to make it work, is that there needed to be like a one-way exit for the souls of the dead to go somewhere. That the gods like had to agree with it. Now, what Loki did not foresee back then is that eventually word of this one-way exit, this flaw, if you will, in this opening in the net, would make its way around the overworlds. And both gods and titans would try to find a way to bypass the net. Each one as unique as they are, with their own reasons. So for instance, that's how, and Loki used the example of Nezumo. Nezumo escaped the net and went back to its cave under Japan. But now there's technically no one to stop it. And Japan had to live with earthquakes and tsunamis for like the past thousands of years. And where it used to have a protector deity, now it doesn't. And the issue that Loki sees in that is that it requires almost like a cycle of, okay, but we're going to fix that issue, but then another one would come up. And then we're going to have to try to fix that issue. And another one will come up, etc., etc., etc.
Becomes whack-a-mole
Loki.
after a while.
It's pretty much whack-a-mole, except every time you miss a mole, millions of humans are going to die. So Loki wants to close the net. He was, according to Kieran, he was kind of clear on that. Sacrifices will have to be made, as in, you know, Kieran might pretty much cease to exist. And that's what's got Kieran a bit,
yeah.
I'm
Very
not.
cool thing for your dad to say to you, yeah.
Yeah, your dad directly saying, you know, well, you're going to die, but this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Number one son, favorite son.
That's it. Like, you're my favorite son. Bye bye. There's something that keeps tugging at Kieran's mind, but he can't really say what. But then again, it's Loki, so whatever he said, you know, you have to be careful. But to
Question.
Loki, it was clear. You close the net and we'll handle the issue of the souls afterwards. Like, this seems to now be a less pressing concern than it used to be when the net was first created. Yes.
And I don't know if Kieran will know the answer to this. Was Loki one of the 12?
Loki was one of the 12. It's Loki plus 11 other deities that he did not divulge the names of.
No problem. You kept throwing his name in and out, so just for my own edification, I wanted to make sure.
No, Loki doesn't hide the
that was
fact
on
that
purpose.
he, I mean, he doesn't hide the fact that he created, like, he founded the Band of 12. So he went in and was like, you know, he recruited people that, much like him, had humanity's best interest at heart. What happens if the net is torn down? We go back to what it was. Earth becomes once again a battlefield for the gods and the titans. It will upend modern society, because for the last 2,000 years humans have been used to living without the interference of the gods. So there are things that are going to happen, you know, old grudges that the gods are going to decide to, you know, bring back and settle once and for all. Except it's not, things don't really work that way anymore. Like, imagine if all of a sudden Poseidon comes back and sees all of those cargo ships sailing the oceans and goes, hey, none of you have made the proper sacrifices, so I'm gonna sink all of you. All of a sudden, you're gonna have, you know, global trade that comes to a halt. Because one god, you know, still clings to how the old ways used to be. Because most of them now have turned their attention to other stuff that Loki said. Some are still very intent on fighting the Titans, but they now do so in one of the many overworlds that happen. That happened to be, missing a word there. That happened to exist. So they would, like, for instance, is it Nilfheim? That's the home of the giants?
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, Nilfheim is hell. It's an underworld. Gosh darn it. It's
What is it?
It's not Asgard. Asgard is an overworld, but they're Midgard. But it is Norse cosmology. I'm just gonna get I mean, it was in the Thor movies. The 9 worlds. So the one we're looking for is Jotunheim. Yeah, Jotunheimer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So, you know, Odin and his ilk are now going directly into Jotunheimer to just fight the giants. and vice versa, because they're all overworld, so Asgard is not necessarily any safer. Now the thing is gods and titans, they can fight forever if they want to. They don't care. Some have decided to just give up on those conflicts because without Earth as a prize, there's no point in doing so. So some deities have become reclusive, shut-ins, hermits almost. Some have not been seen in a while. They may be gone, and honestly, Loki doesn't really care. But that also means that if the net was to fall and those deities are truly gone, Earth is going to lack certain things. Like there are, dozens upon dozens of sun deities, of solar deities.
Mm-hmm.
But the more of them you're missing, the dimmer the sun is going to seem from Earth. Like it's still a star, it's still going to exist, it's still there. But, the sky might be cloudier in those places where the gods aren't there. Let's say for instance Scandinavia, if Sol doesn't exist anymore, well then perhaps daytime is going to last just a few minutes less. But those few minutes, they add up. And eventually it creates an imbalance. And it makes another deity or another titan that much powerful. And Loki wants none of that. He is fed up. And one thing that Loki did, let slip, and it's the other thing that got Kieran all worked up, is Loki spoke of Fimbulvinter. It being, for those of you who are maybe less aware, it is the start of Ragnarok. It's going to be a winter that will last forever, maybe? It almost worked out. And that's kind of what Kieran is kind of a little bit worried about, is to Kieran, not to Loki, all the climate change happening in the world might just be the world slowly going towards that.
So great news from top to bottom from this phone call is what I'm hearing.
Yep. And Kieran doesn't know what to think anymore. Because if you do strengthen the net, you leave here any Titan spawn, any Scion who's not too powerful. Like what, Yoshi wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it also means that because of how fate works, eventually you will ascend and you'll disappear. It's a question of time. Unless there's ways Winnie's a goddess, but she's not gone. Loki didn't really want to talk about that.
I mean, why not? I mean, of course, that would be important information.
Yeah. But it might also be, talking about something that he might not have planned for.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps there's something special about Winnie that gives her ability to avoid it.
That could be. The other thing is, let's say we close the net and it leaves just one Titan spawn in the world. Like, who's going to stop them? If Ulf had been the last one left, like, no one would have stopped him. And he essentially would have free reign on Earth. If you play your cards right, you're a demigod forever. But you can control everything. You can change however society works, and no one is going to be able to. Imagine morning. If you won tomorrow, you could probably decide to completely decimate a country's army.
Right. As one does
Yeah.
on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, for shits and giggles. No one's going to stop you. Not because of how you are. Your nature, you know, who you are, what you can do, what we can all do. I mean, to Kieran, you know, his doppelganger became CEO of an international corporation. Made bank. And the thing is no one could stop me. In a more, you know, hopeful manner, D can remove every illness on Earth. Like that. So long as people don't really know about who you are, it's going to take longer for fate to work. But when it does, of course, we're gone. We're goners. But what you can do, D, will greatly help humanity. What Mada said about the Titans is they don't have humanity's best interest at heart. So if we leave them here, we're basically condemning everyone. So it's either we do exactly what Mada wants and we all know we're goners, but then maybe everything goes well for humans, or we try something else.
Nothing.
I don't know what to think at this point. Also, I'm kind of hungry.
Mm-hmm. I signal to Levi, the guy who runs the deli, to send someone over to get an order.
Yeah, they'll take orders and all that. You've been talking for a good like half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so of just Kieran, you know, giving away all of that exposition.
So we either plug the hole, or we let basically oblivion happen on on our world as we know it.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, the world didn't end 2,000 years ago either.
True.
Like, it was shite, but it didn't go away. I just don't know if it would now. Da said that the humans have grown used to working things out by themselves. It's just
But think about it. If nobody's staked their claim to all this for so long, when that barrier is removed, what's going to happen when every deity higher being comes back at once?
It'll be like the California gold rush all over again.
Except worse, because
Yes.
old boundaries, old things, they're going to fight over it.
And back then, back then when they put the gate up, most of the people tended to serve one or the others. In this world, with none of them willing to serve, none of them being worshipped by any of these gods, it's going to be kind of a three-way battle, and humanity will be slaughtered because they'll not know what they won't have the tools to be able to go up against what they'll be going up against. I mean, we've got the tools, but we're the exception, not the rule.
There's something that's been bugging me. Also.
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite understand what Da has to gain from all of this.
He doesn't usually strike me as like the charitable person, deity, god.
There has to be something.
Let me ask you this. He is a trickster god. He is an agitator. Maybe having the gate up is one of his ways to poke the hornet's nest, so to speak, but still keep humanity from being taken out at the same time. It's the best of both worlds. He can be lauded as the savior of all of the mortals and still be able to poke the bear, so to speak, on the deity side.
Yeah.
I'm just
there's
shooting
a big
off the cuff. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I'm just shooting off the cuff.
because there's just still a big unknown. We don't exactly know what the situation out there is.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It could be. If we close off the net, all the titans and the other deities on the other side of the net are totally separated off. That means anyone over here is separated off from them as well. And if Loki, no offense to your Da, Kieran, but if Loki ends up being the most powerful one over here, he's got a whole world he can have free reign on. Without
Don't
any
think
opposition.
I didn't think about that.
Like I said, not trying to disparage your Da, but I'm just trying to think logically here.
I don't know that that's disparaging. He might be complimented.
He might take that as flattery, for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would be the most obvious thing, right?
Guess just have to figure out what Loki's angle is in this whole thing.
Yeah.
That would make
And then
things
the other
a lot
question,
easier.
there's another question that comes to my mind, and I don't know about anyone else with this. The hole was originally created so that the dead could depart and go to the underworld. If that's totally cleared off, what happens to people when the mortals when they do die? Are their spirits condemned to walking the face of the earth rather than going to the underworld?
See, that's what I don't know. I don't know enough about the dead to know how they work. And he looks the morning.
What?
What happens when humans die?
they pass on.
Oh, okay, but how? Like, suppose we were to close the net. What do you think would happen? Because we went to the gardens, we saw the island and everything. But how do they go from here to the island?
There are doors, gateways, places where they can pass through. We've been in one. That's
So suppose
How
that
we
those
went.
are the holes in the net that Da was talking about. If they get closed, then what? There's just a long queue of people waiting for the door to open again?
oh. I don't
It
feel
gets,
great about any of our options.
it feels, and he's gonna talk and like take a bite of his smoked meat sandwich at the same time and just, mouth half full, just goes, it seems like it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
I feel like there must be some other way. It's just Da is an asshole and he doesn't want to talk about it.
So again, our problem is we don't necessarily have we don't have barely information other than some incredibly biased information.
Yeah. Look, he mentioned those other deities. I don't know who they are. But he did say that they all had, a vested interest in humanity. So maybe that's a start? Like, I think we're gonna have to pay attention to what Loki did not say, I guess. Or I don't know, because maybe that's exactly what he wants us to do. He takes another bite.
We could double guess and triple guess each other all we want. We have to go with what. Pardon me for being the academic, but we have to go with what we do know. Now, I do know in my research that all of the seems like that just about every underworld has some connection to be either on or surrounded by a body of water. So, in theory, if they're all on bodies of water, they might all be from the same source, same water source, so to speak, which means they're all interconnected that way. Which would give us some connections that we could do from getting from one to there. So
we look for water.
That might be a place to start. I don't know if we go down and we take a cruise starting at the River Styx and then just going upstream, so to speak, or if we need to do some other approach. But
wait, you said water. Now I don't know how much Hawkeye as a player you remember it.
Okay.
But if I give you the name sorry, I need to find them again. Oh boy, this is gonna be not that hard. If I give you the name Willem Dafoe, does that remind you of something in regards to this game?
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, my mind went to a bunch
We
of
had-
places.
We had a character that looked. wasn't that
He was a guardian. He was a
Will
guardian.
O'Malley, the Kieran's nemesis that we ran into onto that island, that castle,
Mm-hmm.
That lighthouse
the
Yes.
lighthouse? Yeah,
type of thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's more like it was a an old, like more like medieval lighthouse than what we would think of.
Right. We went from the coast of Ireland out onto the sea, chasing after someone or something, and we got onto that island, and he was the god or caretaker of the island or the building that we'd landed on. Will O'Malley, I believe, was his name.
This, oddly enough, it has to do with water. When you think about it, Finbar, what better way to launch onto or to guide vessels, if your theory is correct and all the underworlds are all linked by a water source, then
There's got to be a lighthouse to guide everyone to where they need to go.
exactly.
Well, everyone, I think we need to make a return trip somewhere.
Where are we going now?
Remember the lighthouse and Kieran's favorite friend that she met, Will O'Malley.
Yeah.
The
If it seems it's sticking in my craw that anywhere you travel on the sea, when you approach a coast, you look for the lighthouse to know either one, where the bay is, or two, where the rocks are, so you can know where to avoid them. What are the odds that lighthouse is the steering point to all the different underworlds? Because it wasn't on a map anywhere. It wasn't on the maps. It didn't exist in any other fashion other than the fact that we could see it.
And it did have that barrier on it.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, that's something.
It may be a wild goose chase, but right now I think that's the best lead we've got right now.
We needed something to go off of. We had nothing to go off of, but now we have something.
why?
Yeah.
Maybe. Wasn't Will O'Malley that other guy though, and not the lighthouse keeper?
Oh, that's right. Will O'Malley. That's right. The guy just looked like Willem Dafoe. That was Will O'Malley. Wasn't the name. Will O'Malley's your friend from way back, isn't it, Kieran?
Why?
That's right. I'm getting. Sorry, I was getting my names mixed up.
No, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
The name that you're looking for, because Isha told you, was Madigan Brazil. Old Man Madigan.
Old Man Madigan. Yeah.
In Portaclay Beach. Except, technically, you already killed him.
Yeah, we defeated him in
He
battle.
was thoroughly beaten up
Yeah.
on the island last time, leaving the. But none of you could use the lighthouse back then.
Mm-hmm.
But it's now could be. It's probably a lot different. We might have the abilities to get in now.
Mm-hmm.
So we go.
Sounds like that's our best bet.
It's our only bet
Hey.
right now, but I'll take it.
I haven't heard anything from Morgan or Nama yet about any of the research that I've had them do. So I guess we best
Well,
do that.
It's only been
It's only been a day.
24 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't have the powers that you have.
Right.
I will say this as the GM. You do not know, none of you know, and I'm giving this sort of as a meta warning too. Loki said that this normally going into the underworld is a one-way thing, right? You're supposed to just leave Earth, go into the underworld. Last time you went, you weren't demigods. So you came back. It might be very hard, maybe impossible to come back if you go in now as a demigod. So if you do, make sure you've you're prepared, is what I'll say. Like, that's the warning in the game of you are about to embark on an adventure and you might
This is
not
the
be
point
able to
of no
come back
return.
to the to the main story for a while. So do you
Are you
want
sure
to
you
or
want
not?
to continue?
Yep.
If we're going to do this, we need to be unanimous in this. If there's anyone who has doubts or hesitations, speak now so we can decide as a team.
It doesn't help us if we still know nothing about it and we go there.
No, because for all we know, we could just
We're doing the
walk
same
into a
thing
trap or
that Morgan did. We don't know.
and they seem so confident in thinking they knew, and see, we now know that if they had done anything, they would have screwed themselves over.
I mean, all we have going is his dad's.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense, historically not a great person to look for the full picture of things.
Oh, I don't trust my dad. I trust my dad as far as I can throw him.
Mm.
All right, then.
I think we have to. If there is some compromise, some in between that Loki is not telling us, we're not going to get it out of him.
There has to be like some evidence, something about this. Something this big doesn't just happen and not leave anything.
Right.
Somebody has to know about it. Someone here has to know about it to some degree.
Yeah, if we figure out, if we can have a second opinion, I think I'd sleep a little easier.
Yeah.
So aside from eating sandwiches, what do we do?
Well, we still have the person in Chicago to talk to. And that person in Russia to find. Do we do that first before we go to this?
This is the point of no
Lighthouse?
return, so yes.
They should
we
also
need-
at least know what they're in for as well.
Yeah, it's only fair. The one in St. Petersburg may not be so easy to contact, but who knows? Maybe this Baptiste St. John knows about this one for all we know. And if not, there might be ways we can flush him out otherwise. Him or her.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess we go to the Windy City.
All right. Do you mind if I skip out on that one? Talking with my father took more out of me than I thought.
Certainly. Take the time to recover.
I'll catch up with you.
We'll keep you posted on what happens and what develops.
Yeah, we'll
So we can-
we'll send you a message if we get
And we
anything.
can
if we have
rejoin
to.
up when you're able.
If nothing else, we'll see you at the lighthouse.
Why? Yeah. Well, I mean, give me a call before you do that. Yeah.
Certainly. I
Will
mean,
do.
yeah.
We'll pick you up.
Good. And then he turns to D with like a little bit of pleading in his eyes that you can clearly understand I really don't feel like I have to I don't want to have to drive and or fly back home. Look, I don't have a penny for a ticket or anything. You know?
Oh boy, let me see, what can I do?
You could burn a shit ton of legend if you want to just
I don't have. The thing
ferry.
is, like,
Ah.
as much as like I look at Kieran, and like D doesn't look at, like, I've done enough getting us here.
I mean,
I
is
can't,
there
like,
so
I'm almost out
proposal?
of gas with that.
Kieran comes with us to Chicago. This is why I was thinking of Chicago with the payphone. Then you can, fuck off and do what you want to do, recoup. You don't have to come with us, but then at least you're like with us and D isn't spent.
I mean, this is the first place to go to Chicago. Airport's right there. Could get you a plane ticket back home. If you felt like it. I mean, there's probably one. There's probably a shuttle going there fairly soon. I just don't think I have that many of those quick entrances anymore in me for at least a little bit.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I think I'll just
funds. You can work something out.
Huh?
I give Kieran a look. It's like, aren't you a multimillionaire?
Well, I guess I can dip into my savings.
Good lord, I forgot.
You could have.
about
I think
that
a D
bit. Go
is
pay for
you
a
can
plane
fly-
ticket.
You can fly from New York to Chicago
It's
fairly
annoyed.
quickly.
It's like, why don't you just hire some limousine to drive you back in a lap of luxury while you take a
Wait a
nap?
second. Hey, Kieran.
Yeah, but Kieran is still
have
like
a
this
penny?
penny pincher.
Good lord.
Find your I think these like find your own way back home.
At this point, you can afford to get an Uber to drive you back to Niantic from here.
Yeah.
He could get a private
I
limousine
can't believe I didn't
to
register
drive
that.
his ass 3 hours back home.
He could also like buy himself a private jet right there and
He is
then.
a god.
Yeah.
He is a demigod. He can get his own damn ride.
Yeah. So
We bought you lunch.
yeah, seeing how he can't bum a ride, he's going to get a find his way back to Niantic, and then if there's anything, keep him posted. He's got his cell phone.
Just like,
Well, at least you know that he's feeling a little better if he tries to
Scam us.
scam. Yeah,
That's a good sign.
it's some friendly scamming, you know.
Sure, friendly scamming.
buy that private jet with like the little like thing in there.
Yeah.
So,
Get one of those fancy, like, what was it? Elite helicopters, and just like, there's probably one right here.
Yeah.
Close by.
yeah. Especially in Manhattan, that there are ways. He can find way. There are ways
Just
for
like-
rich people to come and go from
Right.
like one of the many airports. But he's gonna find his own way back home, leaving the three of you to decide how you get to Chicago. What's the game plan, godlings?
Right, how are you doing for Legend? D. Well, I think we we could probably just do the company fun thing and rent us a Learjet to fly us to Chicago from here.
Yeah, I
Certainly
mean,
from
stuff
LaGuardia or JFK, one or
Yeah.
the other, we should be able to find the service.
That's fine with me. I've never actually flown.
What are we doing with Midnight?
Oh,
I could just ride there. I'll just meet you there on horseback.
The long. Oh my god.
let me go check Midnight stats for fun.
What is
I don't know.
What
Like
is-
Midnight.
Yeah,
there's
seriously.
That might be more
yeah.
than Midnight. Unless Midnight can fly. Can Midnight fly?
Midnight currently cannot fly, as
Damn it.
far as I am aware.
No, you would need to. It would take a while. It is possible for you, as demigods. I don't remember how many. I think it's by the time you get your next legend point, you can sort of begin to imbue your relics with your own stuff. So instead of Midnight being one of the Morrigan's horses, it turns slowly into your own steed, because it'll have, your flavor, if you will, your abilities and all that. But Midnight, for sure, as fast as the horses, cannot fly.
How fast can Midnight run?
Fast?
So,
Can
yeah,
Midnight go as fast as a car?
no. Midnight doesn't go
Okay.
60 miles an hour.
Never know.
Midnight is
Midnight's
the
unicorn.
fastest horse alive. So the fastest horse would go, what is it, 45 miles per hour.
I was gonna say it's about 30 or 40.
Yeah, it's 45 miles per hour, the Guinness World Record. So imagine Midnight goes 45 miles an hour, but also Midnight never tires.
I mean, it's
So it would take
12 hours by car, but that's probably at like 60.
it's going to be like
65,
16 to 18 hours with well, actually
Wait,
it's
where was
1
the-
2 3
where
4.
was-
For
there
every
was
4
one-
hours you add an extra hour. So it's
Okay.
15 hours
15
on
hours.
Midnight.
All right, New York to Chicago, 796 miles.
Don't want to be mean though. Has any one of you horseback, like,
I
rode
mean,
a horse
I was-
for any extended
Yeah.
period of time before? Because
don't
I'm
like
gonna
it.
tell you,
I don't like
50
it,
hours
honestly.
of horseback riding
Don't
is
like
going
it.
to hurt.
Yeah, but
it's morning though.
yeah, I'm a warrior goddess. I can ride a horse for the non-stop 16 hours. More. I could do more than that.
It's probably right though. You are demigods anyway.
This is literally my purview. Horses are in my purview.
Then in that case, do you have? Let me see.
The thing is,
No, you've got access to liminal, but oh wait, no, you have step sideways.
I do, but I forgot what that is. I never wrote it in a description.
It's, if I remember correctly, it's like a fold in reality. I just need to grab the book real quick. It's like maybe a short range teleport. boop, boop. Powers. Nope. Yes. Nope. Nope.
I'm extremely bad at keeping my character sheet up to
Wrong.
date in this game.
Wrong book. There's a lot of things too. It's
There's so
very.
much.
And we are house ruling a lot of it out. For people watching, there's a lot of things from Scion that I've just taken out because it became it would have become too much.
It's a lot.
Okay, so this is under liminal, right? Step
Yes.
sideways, and it is a knack. It is a knack, not a oh. It might not be that great if it's just a knack then.
Right.
Immortal
Oh, wait, when you move an
liminal.
action. When you take a move action, cross a distance immediately. This movement ignores hazardous and difficult terrain and crosses distances where it may not be safe to walk, such as across a chasm. So long as you can see your destination is within distance, you can move. You appear unharmed.
How many times can I use it?
I don't know. Also, was this you? This is applied to you. This is applied to both you at midnight.
I would say it applies to midnight if you're riding the creature.
I mean, you just look on the horizon. You can see the horizon. You can move to the horizon. Like,
yeah, but the thing is it's a distance you can move in one turn.
oh,
So yes, you go like
Oh,
you
boy.
do like a
That-
bunch of tiny teleports. But let me see how often. 'Cause I think they can. Okay, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Momentum expenditure. Nope, I don't care about that.
what the hell is my thing? Even? Let me see what the hell that is.
Nope, that's just
Trailways. Okay.
creator, mortal creator. No, as far as I'm concerned, knacks can be used all the time, like every turn. It would definitely hasten the trip. I think for the purposes of this, it would make it so that you could keep up with a car. Like it would take the same amount of time as it would in a car. So you would save like you would shave off 3 hours.
Great. I could do that. I mean, by the time I get there, I feel like y'all would already be done having this conversation, though.
If they fly, yes, definitely.
So,
But let me see something, because
Well,
there's something you all have access to that I've been wanting you to use a bit more, but you're very
Oh yeah, the
stingy
thingy
on
thing.
it.
The thingy thing.
is it because I'm forgetting about it? Because I feel like it might be because I'm forgetting about it.
The what was it?
Casual
the
miracles.
The casual miracles. Yeah.
Casual miracles.
Beep,
Because if I look at our list of casual miracles,
we don't have that many. Like we haven't like
Well, I
taken very
mean,
much.
if I look at these miracles, for instance, this is beast, luck, health. Always have the right supplies for any trip. No, always get a ride somewhere, no matter where you are, even in the underworld or overworld. Avoid all mundane inconveniences while traveling. Kind of cool.
I mean, our travel's gonna be very smooth if that's what.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna hasten the.
well, if
I don't
I might
have-
make it,
I don't
if I
have
might
journey.
make a suggestion,
At least I don't think I.
and I
have.
only know this from being here in Louisville with the Derby and all that. Racehorses can be transported via jet,
Oh God.
and sometimes
Oh yeah, that's entirely possible.
That's how they transport the horses that are born and bred in Saudi Arabia over here for the Derby and stuff like that. So if we're renting a plane, we could probably we could probably arrange to rent one that has a horse stall.
Yeah, it would
For
probably be
transport.
your best bet if you wanted to go very quickly.
That might be good.
That would
yeah.
work for me.
'Cause-
And
Why don't we do
honestly, like, I don't want to be disrespectful of anyone's money, but like, if the world ending is a possibility that we are facing,
Also, I don't think
think
as much
budgeting
as
becomes-
much as
I mean, we
the
got-
warrior goddess
you got
as I
Belmont
believe
Park.
morning is like a
Yeah, we got Belmont
12
Park
hour
here,
a
so-
12 hour using your knack while riding a horse is probably gonna take a lot out of her.
sure, sure.
Come back like
Yeah.
She'd be stubborn, but that doesn't mean it's good.
that's just like as a
Yeah.
human coming back from like a 14-hour flight. It's just gonna be like I just don't
Yeah.
want.
Because Belmont Park is here in New York, is in the New York City area. It's the third leg of the Triple Crown, so there's going to be those capabilities here.
We just have to
Why don't
find
we
an
just do
airline
that?
that has that. Yeah,
Right.
it's a new experience for midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll again, quick cut, travel to Chicago. This is
Now I think D is now keeping track of what horse transport capable jets are in the world now as far as like compiling stuff, because this might be something we need to know.
indeed. And as far as we're concerned, money-wise, you can just dip into the funds from.
We got lots. I
from
mean,
the
we have
company.
lots of venues of.
I mean,
of
I
income.
forgot, but even Finbar, as a casual miracle, you can take any piece of coal and turn it into a diamond.
Yeah.
So if you need
If we
money
need to do
quickly,
something
you just
legal.
take a bunch of
Cool.
coal, crush it, go to Tiffany's, and sell
Yeah.
them.
Sell some diamonds.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, does Queen's Guard have any available jets? Legitimate
do.
question.
They do. They have one.
We should just.
There's
yeah,
one
we should
company
just-
jet.
That
and has
feels
the horse.
Yeah. We
the-
would have
I
made
think-
sure there
I
was room
think-
for a horse.
It is currently being used by Kieran though to go back home. So
No. Okay.
for this one time, you're gonna have to choose
Good
another
God,
one.
good God, get your ass
Can
back
buy a
home.
fucking
Find your.
plane ticket.
So we just rent a.
It's gonna be an
horse
angry. It's
capable-
gonna be an angry. It's
horse
gonna be
capable jet, no problem.
irritated phone calls like Kieran. We need the jet. No, you
Mhm.
can't, Kieran. We need the jet.
And Kieran's like, I can't
It
hear
has
you.
the
I'm in
horse.
the
Kieran,
air.
there's 3 of us and a horse
Kieran
versus
you're-
you.
Kieran, you're
Kieran,
the Queen's Guard jet is the only one that has a horse. You can find You can find a better jet back home.
Well, if you
I
give me a
know.
few hours, I'm gonna be in Niantic, and I can send the jet back your way.
good lord. I will fight you. I have a big sword.
And like, I would like
I
to
just,
picture.
I think D it's first like like just speaker just like headset, and then just after a while it's just video and everyone's just yelling at this video. I'm like, Kieran, just-
And in the Queen's Guard jet,
you're not even,
I'd
at the,
like to
you're not
picture
even at
Kieran.
the airport. You're not even at the airport.
Fine. I'll leave you the jet. God.
You're like,
And so after a bit of logistics, you get safely to Chicago. He's going to get safely to Niantic. Maybe with a little less money in his pockets, but whatever.
oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo,
It's
Kieran.
a simple
Boo-hoo.
plane ticket. He's got plenty of money.
Yeah, but he's gonna want to have the plane to himself.
You can get another plane to yourself, Kieran.
Buy a fucking plane to yourself, Kieran.
It's New York City. There are tons of planes that will like take one person in a lap of luxury 3 hours.
Yeah, Kieran.
Fine. I
Less
like we're
than
doing
3
all
hours.
of this and
If we're
Hannah's
doing-
not
if we're doing-
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel a little bit more comfortable fully bullying Kieran when Hannah is not here. It's like,
I would still do this.
it's like I'm just bullying Simon.
If
course,
it is to
Of
be
course,
fair,
I could mention the obvious solution.
Which is?
We all take the plane lands at Niantic, and then goes from Niantic to Chicago.
we've yelled at him already.
I know.
It's
I
too
don't
late.
want to spend this.
You've
We're trying to be
committed.
efficient with time.
Yeah, you've committed.
This
So
is
we're-
gonna be.
I
Do
that
we
had
really?
occurred
Do
to
we
me,
really
and I
want?
ignored it.
Do we really want us being irritated and Kieran sulking for like I don't know, like the 3 or 4 hours it takes to get to Chicago,
so
and then he has to go back?
I will
Just like-
we'll cut and reappear. Well, reappear. Land in Chicago, and even quick cuts get to
It would be
the.
great if Kieran does like join us. It's just like we've had that conversation and it's been a real quiet, awkward flight. But to Chicago, it's like you're coming with us anyways, and you you're like everyone's had that argument, and everyone's gonna go together to Chicago.
But once you land in Chicago, you remember anyway the address of this toy shop. By the what's the name of that lake again? Lake Michigan.
Like Michigan.
Yeah, in Jackson Land. Near the Illinois-Indiana border.
Mhm.
Well, near, more or less, but it's an unassuming building. Brown bricks. It's got a few windows. It seems like the second floor is more apartments, and the first floor has this these like 4 stores, if you will. A bit older, like I said. It looks like it could use a good a fresh coat of paint, or maybe a bit of renovating. But you have it there. It's the little sign, very. What you doing? Very plain. It's called Easy Toys, or maybe Ez's Toys. Like it's Easy, the 2 letters,
Right.
but there's no like hyphen between Easy and Toys.
Easy toy.
So it's Easy Toys. It's written in this like darker red font on a white background. No, there are no toys on the sign itself. No image of anything, like not even like a doll or an old like wooden horse or something. It's just Easy Toys. It is next to it's a pizza place. It's one of those pizza places that only has like 2 tables.
Is the pizza as good in Chicago as it is in New York?
Oh no.
Let me just put chat in follower only before you start saying these things.
You're talking to a downstate boy here.
I
I've got my
come
opinions on
from
Chicago.
the West Coast. I have no dog in this particular fight. Y'all can like yell at each other.
And I don't
Morning
eat
doesn't
cheese.
know.
Yeah. It's like,
Morning
we can
doesn't
try. I mean,
know.
we can try. I mean, we're gonna have to eat anyways.
Just
It's weird because judging by the signs on the pizza shop next to Easy Toys, they don't look like the pizzas you've seen before, Morning. They look like bowls made
Yeah.
of bread.
Bowls made of bread. Fascinating.
talking about this thick.
It's like a bread lasagna.
And why would you say something so controversial
Morning's
yet so
a
brave?
growing warrior queen. I think she'll pick up pizza here as well and just
Yeah.
like carry it on the plate.
On the other side of Easy Toys, you have it seems like it's closed off, a second-hand bookstore, but there are no lights coming from inside. The books are just stacked up to a point where they almost obscure all the windows. Windows that have also have like these metal bars outside to protect from, you know, anyone who would break through the windows and all that. But it looks mostly abandoned. It's not condemned, but it looks eternally closed. And even Easy Toys, I mean, it's open. There's that little sign that says, like, yes, we're open. But there's not a lot of light coming from inside.
I must really want a toy, specifically from this
And
place.
yeah, if you peer in through the window... So we all know what toy shops look like, right? Normally you're gonna have bright colors, lights, a big display of, you know, whatever it is they have to sell, or what's like the flavor of the moment type of thing. It's probably like rows upon rows of Funko Pops. But there's not really any of this. Like the front window is very Spartan in how empty it is. There's a few puppets just hung like marionettes, hung on strings on like a curtain rod. You have like a few older toys like those uh-oh. It's not a dreidel, it's
It's a top.
yeah, a top. Thank you. One of those, like, you know, bigger tops that you could like press on it and it would spin. It's got one starter set of like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which seems to be the most modern thing. And it's got tons of plushies.
No board games? Wow.
No board games.
Not that you can see from here.
All Monopoly. All Monopoly from the eye can see.
Oh, I hate it when stores do that. Just like variations on Monopoly. It's like that's their only board game offering.
We have board games. It's Monopoly. It's just, and probably one box of Yahtzee. But yeah, it seems that from just looking at it, this is not a toy shop. This is a front.
I mean, this is business is being handled here, not toys. Maybe 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago.
But it says open if you want to go in.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
This is sufficiently a weird storefront, you know.
Head inside.
As you head inside, two things will immediately hit you. First, the smell of honey.
Okay.
But not a divine smell of honey. Just smells a lot like honey. And you can hear like the buzzing of like a rogue bee or two. Like this store has like a beehive or a wasp hive somewhere in there. Probably more bees because of honey. But
the illicit
also
activity, bees. Just bees.
Yeah. There's music playing. It's faint, seems to come from the back store. Drum beats. But that, you know, comes from your divine sense, not from your regular ears. It smells strongly of tobacco. Like pipe tobacco. Again, well, this time you're not quite sure. It seems to be both mundane and divine. There's a so the way the store is made is it's longer rather than wide.
Yeah,
and
it's yeah.
Yeah, and it's these rows of shelves that barely have enough room for someone to walk in. You kind of have to turn and like almost like walk sideways.
You mean comic book store configuration then?
Like a comic book store. Yeah.
It's like, I know, it's like
but those shelves are full.
Yeah.
They're full of board games, but also like toy models, like gunpla or
Oh dear God.
trains or
Oh,
planes
no.
or like, you know, all of those like hobby things. You've got an entire row of that. There's an entire row of action figures, but from what you can see, probably D more than anybody else around. Well, maybe Finbar.
Bar, maybe.
But most of these toys have been out of circulation since like the 70s, 80s.
D won't know what the hell that is. That's
We're
too
talking
overdated.
like original 12-inch GI Joe with the fuzzy hair and everything.
Yeah,
For
we're
Lynn.
talking.
Lynn would know what that is. D would not. D is out of that.
Oh, okay, she's not enough. So yeah, if you talk about, you know, the original Star Wars action figures from,
I mean, she would know those, but like if it's like
Original
anything
Hasbros.
beyond that, like it'd be like I don't know the hell that old person shit
no,
is.
they're there in their original boxes. The original cardboard cutout of the Death Star is in there in a box. Many of these things are stuff that you would have seen on documentaries about toys and such. Even the board games that they have are, some of them are kind of modern, but a lot of them look strangely old. Like you could find anything that has ever been made.
Like original versions of Go at the head of the class. And
I
things
mean,
like that.
they have a game called The
Yeah.
Landlord's Game,
Oh.
which
Wow,
is the
very cool.
ancestor to Monopoly.
Monopoly, yeah.
It's like a museum almost, and your divine eyes notice something. Is that these rows, if you start walking down them, you will lose yourself. You will stay in this store way longer than you think you did. They might, for all you know, extend into infinity. Like if a toy exists, you will find it at some point in the store. But a mortal, it might be dangerous for a mortal to walk in there because they might not be able to get out. It's not even labyrinthine because the shelves are just, the rows are just straight.
It's a space. It's
It's like a
impossible
liminal space. Yeah. It's like a back room. And you hear
Does this affect us, or is it, or we can just go through this?
No, you know this. You know
Okay.
this, and because you know this,
We find a skeleton in there or something. We just
like you
someone
can
wanted
see
to
the
take it
end
out.
of the shelves, by the way. You can see the end of the rows.
Yeah.
Like the wall, the far out wall
Yeah.
of the store. And if you wanted to, you could just think to yourself, like, I just want to go through. I just want to head to the back. And you will head to the back. Like, it's not going to alter what it is. It's just if you decide that you're browsing,
Shit.
you might stay there for 12 hours and not even realize it.
Yep.
But you hear a deep bassy deep bassy voice come from the back of the store, where you hear the faint drum, and it says, "I'll be there in a minute." And that's where we're gonna. Actually, I see deep bassy voice. Deep bassy voice. Jesus, you've probably all heard Keith David at some point
Oh hell yeah!
in your life. That's him. That's his voice.
Wow.
In fact, that's also his face claim for the game.
Oh.
But you won't know that until next week.
Oh.
Or next episode. Yep. But yeah, welcome to the toy store.
Amazing.
And because I have a hard stop in a few minutes, that's going to be it for today. I don't think that the conversation with Loki, I mean, was it helpful?
It was helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Like it gave a point of view of like what's.
Lots of context.
Yeah.
Was it painful? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Was it helpful? Also, yes.
Yes.
So let's go around the table. Tell us who you are, where we can find you, if you have anywhere that you want to tell people where they can find you, stuff going on, all of that. Let's do same order as we did the intros, and we'll start with morning.
Hi, my name is Renee Rhodes, and I've played Morning today. You can find me for now on Twitter. I keep saying that, but I just worry it's going to be less and less time. Anyway, you can also find me on other social media at also RayDeanne usually, so that's fine. On Twitter at RayDeanneR. Also, my big thing is that I have been auditioning for the host of the One Shot podcast position, and my audition episodes are coming out. We played Animon's story. I got to play with an amazing cast of people, and they're very cool. There's a survey so that you can let the network know how you think I did, and it's incredibly nerve-wracking, but incredibly exciting, and so I definitely would love for you to go check those episodes out and tell them what you think.
Well, the moment you said Animon, I saw the survey and I was like, I need to listen to that episode. But if it's Animon story,
It's Animon's story.
another
I love
reason
it a lot.
for me
It's
to.
so good, Simon. I'm auditioning and I don't want to like toot my own horn, but it was just a very good game. It was a very satisfying one shot. So
It is it's in my list of, because I ran I think 1 or 2 one shots,
yeah, I remember.
and I really need to have like a longer
It's so
campaign of
fun.
it.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Up next, D.
Oh, hey everyone, I'm Lynn, Gremlin art pretty much everywhere on the socials. You can find my art there, and next time you'll see me is on Wednesday on Sword and Key for our last session of Magical Kitty Save the World, where a bunch of cats have protected their humans from supernatural problems, and we're gonna have our little finale on Wednesday, so be sure to check that out.
Awesome. And last but not least, Finbar.
All right, I'm Hawkeye, or Kentucky Hawkeye. You can catch me on my Twitch channel. Monday nights is Family Night at the Emporium, where my daughter and I are currently working our way through Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, or as we prefer to call it, The Further Adventures of Mouse Droid. We're going to have a fun time this coming Monday. We've going to have all of the civilians, i.e. NPCs in the game, are all going to be gunk droids as we work our way through. So we're going to have some fun with that, kind of with some the different themes and stuff that they do there. Tuesday night, I'm scrapping the Skyrim serial for now because I have succumbed to the hype, to the madness. I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 with my gold dragonborn paladin Ben de Mustaine. Did a little intro with that. Hopefully we won't have the crash issues that I had last week. I think I've solved the OBS problems on that. And then Wednesday is Grappler's Keep, my WWE 2K23 universe, where a number of characters from all of your favorite tabletop RPG genres compete in a ring that we lovingly call the Dice Tray. Hopefully we're past all the stuff with OBS that I was having the issues with, and we'll be crowning our men's and women's holders of the Hunter's Mark championship belts. We'll be crowning those this week, and then otherwise you can catch me here Saturdays with the rest of this crew.
Awesome. And as for me, Simon at Wondering DM, you can find us here on Monday for we're gonna start the interludes for the Vampire the Masquerade Montreal by Night game. We've recorded yesterday night one of the interlude with Folly and Fredo. It's been the long-awaited Fredo arrival in Montreal, and it was a blast. Really interesting to see the dynamic between those two characters. And then we will not be here next week, as most of us have something. So unfortunately, we're going to be skipping over, and we'll be back in... Oh my god, we'll be back in September. We'll be back on September the 2nd for some more existential crises. Oh, and Thursday, of course, Thursday nights, Baldur's Gate, because like everyone, where we made this week Jacques of All Trade, the gnome hero who is now a brain surgeon and can do everything.
Wow.
And yeah, basically we're going for the achievement of having 1 level in each class.
Ooh.
So
okay.
yeah, it's gonna be a thing. 1 level in each class, and the further challenge is I'm playing completely solo because Jacques thinks that since he can do everything by himself, why does he need people around?
Uh-huh.
It's very complicated.
Okay, Jacques.
All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Have a good weekend. Thank you for coming again, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.